There's a concept in the marketing world where people who do marketing at a high level never refer to a client they worked with in the past as a past client. They have clients and they have active clients that they're working with. And I believe that Scott Forte is one of the best mortgage lenders at maintaining a relationship with his clients and then also serving his active clients at a high level. So if you want to learn how Scott's able to maintain such a giant book of business and keep it consistent, check out this conversation about keeping in contact with your client database. I think that you set the standard, in my opinion, when it comes to dealing with your past clients. A lot of, and I don't even think you consider them past clients, because a lot of people look at their past clients as people that they've done business with in the past, and they almost forget about them. They don't utilize the database of people that they have. You got 21 years of doing this.
Yeah.
If I did my math right. And, that means that you've got a lot of people in your database. What is your system on managing the pipeline of people that you have currently in your database?
So I use a software program called Phone Burner. So you can phoneburner.com. And we upload all of my past clients into there. Now, I've got all my past clients from years before. Try to get it updated every month from past clients. And then we, with Phone Burner, you can set it up to categorize. We create folders. We have A's and B's, C's and D's, E's and F's based on with their last name. So what we do is try to put them on a 13-week call cycle. So there's 26 letters in the alphabet. You're hitting A's and B's one week, C's and D's. Now, we don't always consistently hit it every time on time, obviously, but I try to touch base, or I have somebody in my company that is calling, smiling, and dialing, call it, doing just touching base with my past clients.
But you're doing that over a phone call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, phone call.
That's incredible. I mean, like you hear these 36 touch campaigns where, you get like an email, you get a letter, you get a football schedule in the mail. Like, those are great, but like there's nothing there's nothing better than getting a phone call and having a one-on-one conversation with somebody when you're building a relationship with somebody.
Right. We try to keep it quick, 3-minute phone calls. You got a little 3-minute hourglass timer, so you don't want to take up too much time. You flip it over.
Nice.
And then it's checking. We call it the Dr. Butler script, right? So whenever your doctor's office calls, it's not the doctor. Usually it's not. It's usually the nurse, right? So Dr. Miguez called. This is, Nurse Betty or whatever. Dr. Miguez wanted me to reach out to you and check on you. Well, this is, Jen with the Forte Mortgage team. Scott wanted me to check in on you, to where I'm not having to, do it as often.
Calls, yeah.
I'm trying to. I do it sometimes. I'll step in, but
well, that's the power of your team. It's the leverage of your team.
Right.
Because that right there, it will tee you up for the rainmaking activities,
Correct.
which is, hey, this person is, for example, they are looking to go buy something else right now, or they're looking to refinance, or they're looking to start investing or to invest again. Like, whatever that metric is they have some interest in something. It allows for them to go do, the smiling and dialing, as you call it.
Right.
And then once it progresses to a point of, hey, they have some further questions about something, great.
Then I'll follow up.
Yeah.
So it's consistency, right? Like, so if I'm not doing it consistently, if somebody else can do it consistently and it's 80% as good, then but they're honest, like doing it constantly, it sends an automatic email after they hang up the phone with them, whether they spoke with them, didn't speak with them. It's got a lot of good features on it. So that's what we do with that. And then I have like a mobile app where we use our CRM, where every single day it tells me my past clients' birthdays, right? So I'll send them a birthday text.
Yeah.
But you laugh about that, but I'm telling you, dude, like that is what sets you apart. I'm telling you, I've never met somebody who's able to consistently stay in touch with his past clients in the way that you have. When the birthdays, on their closing anniversaries, like those are memorable things that you are a part of.
Right.
That if you just do that consistently and your database grows to a point and you do that just relentlessly every time, you're going to continue to do business with these people because they're going to see you as somebody who's paying attention. Right. Even if it's not, the in-depth conversation about, whether Susie hit 2 for 3 or softball game yesterday.
Right.
You don't have to go that in depth, but just showing people that you're caring, you're paying attention, and you're there, and reminding them that they're a part of your system in which you do business is important.
Sure.
And I just think that you should get a lot. You deserve a lot of credit for just being able to consistently do that for so long.
Well, I think it's important there's a difference between branding, which is getting your name out there, but then staying top of mind too, though. Right?
Yep.
And so by doing that, it's not that they had one encounter with you. It's that you're staying top of mind because life and circumstance happens to people and they go from maybe not needing mortgage or refinance or whatever, but then by staying top of mind, by staying in touch, like too many people are so lazy because they're like, well, they should think of me because we had that one encounter.
Right.
That is you think too highly of yourself if you think that, right? Because
Yeah.
no matter how impactful that encounter was, there's so much vying for that person's attention. If someone else is top of mind who has come into their life since then, it will outshine that one encounter that you had.
Correct.
And so you've got to do something to intervene with that, which is by staying in touch and staying top of mind.
Yeah.
And that is so critical.
I think that, and then, you know, I've picked up a lot of deals on birthday texts. Like it's crazy the amount of deals I've gotten on that. But
Oh man, I was just thinking of contacting you the
but
other
I always,
day.
there's the one thing that people forget to do though is asking for the business, right? You got to ask.
So it's not just,
So you're touching base, but you got to be like, hey, by the way, while I have you on the phone, or I'll do it via text, do you happen to have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy or sell anytime soon or refinance? And then they'll say no most of the time. I said, well, great. Well, if you hear of anybody, can we count on you to send them our way?
Yeah.
Like, can we count on you?
Yeah.
So it's like a call to action on their part, as opposed to just saying, let me know if you hear anybody, you know, but
yeah.
can we count on you to send them our way?
I think that's important. That call to action is necessary.
Right. So we, try to do that, instill that in my team too, whenever we're asking. Also during the process, you know, they're actively talking to other people when they're buying a house, when they're in a pipeline. So those are good ones to call. We call them, I try to call on those once a week, touch base with them, touch base with my pals. I call them the pre-approved and look-ins. Every day of the week, try to do something different.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And then
That consistency. So you play baseball. It's like you got to just consistently get up to bat, right? Like you've got to consistently be putting in the reps, doing things. And that's where so many people miss out on this is because they infrequently do the reps.
right.
But they're like, oh, well, when I do the reps, it was good. I'm like, yeah, but you got to keep doing it for it to remain good.
Yeah.
You're not going to always, every time you put in a rep, will it turn into something? But those reps turn into eventually that snowballs into
Right.
deals and in a pipeline.
Oh yeah. And I learned early on in the mortgage business, whenever I was in a cubicle environment, this is one, I work alone now in my office. I'm alone most of the day, right? Talking on the phone. But I remember back in my 20s, we were sitting in, I had my buddy Jason and Jason DeLon, if you're out there seeing this, you know what I'm talking about. So we got our start in the mortgage business together, and Jason and I were super competitive. We, battle it out for number one each month. But I sat right next to him, and I would hear things that he would say on the phone, and I'd be like, man, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. Or he'd hear something that I'd say, and I'd hear him using it. Yeah. So we'd feed off each other.
That's the power of proximity.
Right. Learning, but because both of us were, we were very good on the phone, and it was, building that trust. What I was getting back at is like whenever I try to become friends with all my clients.
Yeah.
Get to know them, talk about, their personal life, their family, friends, whatever, their job. That's one thing, the first thing you could talk about, hey, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
And I'm slowly going through their application before I'm getting their application to kind of see what kind of deal we're more than likely going to have to put them in, So you're kind of curb qualifying them in the beginning before they even do the application. And you can get a good idea of their overall financial picture just by having a conversation.
Yeah.
But you're at the same time, you're building rapport with them, getting to know them.
Yeah.
And it's, they're trusting you. And then we send the mobile app out. People like the mobile app, it's easy. And then, goes through the process.
How much fun was it when you and Jason were sitting there just going back and forth, competing with each other? I bet that was fun.
Oh yeah, man. It was great. He was, he would, we'd talk smack to each other, one of us got beat the other, and then
As a competitive person, there's something to not doing it solo.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like there's always seasons for everything in life. But no, there's something about having someone next to you. Like, oh, let me show them.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, we had some good times, and but yeah, I mean that's a lot of my stuff that I've learned. I mean it's the same. I mean people don't change over. People like to be felt like they're taken care of and personalized service.
Yeah.
That's what we get. I mean there's a lot of people. Some people shop rates. Want to go online and try to find lower rates and all that.
Sure.
And of course, there's always going to be somebody out there with a lower interest rate, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be people with a higher interest rate.
But people don't realize that there's more than just a rate that comes with a loan.
Correct. Right.
And that is such a huge part to this that most people don't understand actual mortgages, right? They narrow it down just to an interest rate. They don't understand what impacts interest rate. They don't understand like the other terms of the loan. They don't understand what all goes into it, the back house, all of that stuff. Not necessarily their prerogative that they have to, but the reality there is an interest rate is not the only thing. And I literally, one of my mentors told me this. He said, you can put two houses right next door to each other. They could be built by a builder, same floor plan, worth the same thing, could rent for the same thing, all of that. But one could be a great deal and one could be a bad deal solely based on one thing, financing. Mm-hmm. But the reality is they could both be 8% interest. And one could be a great deal, one could be a bad deal. Because one could be fixed, 30-year, the other one could be adjustable. Or the other one could be 15-year with a 2-year balloon. Or like whatever. Like all these other terms could impact it. And so, or it could be the quality, as I mentioned, like the quality of the lender and hey, is this actually going to get across the table? Are you properly put into the right type of product that, for what you're trying to look for? All of those things really matter. And I think when people are really shopping price, I understand people are value driven, but people don't often understand that it's not just price. And I mean, the interest rate, it's a lot of the other things that can make or break what you actually have.
Right.
I mean, straight up, if someone made an offer on a property and if I saw someone with a loan from your product, like with what you have, I'd be like, I would highly consider that offer, even if it wasn't the top dollar offer.
Correct.
Like those things are important. And so, but people don't understand that. Mm-hmm. And hopefully they'll understand just a little bit more after watching this.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing you can do too that will help you out if you're a buyer is that you can go on to NMLS Consumer Access, right? So if you are looking online, you can look up your loan officer's entire self-reported work history and see their experience, what they've done all the way back to high school. Just to vet them, just to make sure you're getting
interesting.
Yeah, so you can check any license.
What's the website again?
NMLS Consumer Access.
Cool. That's good to know.
I think that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Before we get off, I want to kind of go down a little bit, poke on a little bit something that you talked about earlier today. You talk about how you're talking about your mom a lot. Mm-hmm. So, like, tell me about you and your mom's relationship.
My mama, I love my mama. She's great. She was born and raised in Purvis, Mississippi, and my dad was in Hattiesburg. She grew up, in a working class family. Had 3 siblings, 2 sisters, and a brother. Kind of had a rough childhood, and she made it out. I mean, not saying made it out like it was a bad area, but like she grew. She was a salesperson and started, went to a Tupperware party and learned that she liked it. And they were like, hey, you could sell it. You can, whatever, she's very strong-willed. She left and, took a leap of faith and made it, made it better herself and stuck with it and moved and, worked her way up the ranks. But she's a very positive person, motivator. When I was a kid, she would do these affirmations. She would write affirmations on Post-its, to put on my mirror. When I'm brushing my teeth, like if I was playing baseball, I'd brush my teeth and say it 10 times. I hit the baseball really well, or I catch the baseball really well. Or she'd say, I'm a happy, healthy, friendly person was one of them. She would read a lot of motivating, self-motivating books.
Probably the old Zig
Ziglar's. Yep, the cassette tapes and all that. I remember seeing them all over her office, like books and cassette tapes and like VHS, back then. But
funny enough, I actually have some of those old ones, and I had to go buy a VHS and a cassette player just to be able to listen to them. But the reality is that success is not complex. Success leaves clues, and a lot of these things, what she did is not far from what you're doing.
Right.
right? Sure, technology, there's a few little technical sides, but a lot of this stuff that she was doing is really what we could all learn from and do today.
Yeah.
And what you do, right? Like she modeled what success looks like or what is needed to be done to have success. It's it's the learning, improving that. Like I love the affirmations. I love those things.
She would build people up. She was a motivator, you know, coach them and constantly, you know, getting through to people to let them know that they can do great things. And she helped me a lot growing up. I went through a lot of, you know, I had some tough times growing up along the way, you know, high school and college and all that. I had a big personality. So, you know, it's kind of wild at times. And so she'd really help me to hone in on, you know, being in control, right?
Yeah.
You want to control your emotions, being in control. She'd say, I am in control. I am in control. Say it 10 times, you know, so you're in control, you know, to where you can, you know, because our kids right now, we have, you know, my boys are emotional, my daughter too, but like they have big personalities, right? So a lot of times with these, when you have people like that with big personalities, sometimes the emotion gets the better of them. So I've worked, you know, over the years to kind of control that and be more centered. Like, you know, I had an old mentor of mine used to say, be the calm fireman that shows up to put the fire out with a hose. You know, don't get frantic. Don't,
Sure.
you know, when something happens, you know, we have to put out a fire literally, or, you know, something goes astray, then, you know, how you handle situations, if you handle them when you're in control, it's going to be a better outcome as opposed to losing your mind and, you know, dropping, you know, F-bombs or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well,
making the situation worse.
Yeah.
yeah, if someone doesn't control their emotions, the situation's in control, not them.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's all about leadership, who gets to lead that moment.
I think it's cool. I mean, my mom made a big impact on my life too. As you talked about your mom, like in a similar way that I think about mine. She, you know, my dad was kind of quiet, didn't always say a ton, but my mom was always in my ear about something. You know, like, you know, whether
That's how my dad was too. My dad was quiet.
yeah, yeah. And so it just and to this day, I find myself whenever I seek advice, it's usually like some of my coaches have been females, just because I've always had that. You know, they're the ones that are always telling me what direction I need to take, and then I was always following my dad's footsteps. So I just think it was cool to hear you talk about your mom making an impact on you. And my grandmother too. She always told me, my grandmother told me I was a lead horse and I could do anything I put my mind to. And that she loved me longer than everybody else. I'm the oldest grandkid, not more than everybody else. She loved me longer than everybody else. She made that very clear. So, but yeah, I had a bunch of really inspirational women in my life growing up too that encouraged me, because I was like you, big personality, wasn't always on the straight and narrow, and they were always either telling me how to get back on path, or sometimes having to, you know, give me a little smack in the ass to put me right in the right direction.
Yeah.
But whatever it took, they did
Whatever side of the hand you need.
whatever
that day.
whatever it was, and I deserved every bit of it. But but look, I appreciate it, and I think it's great that, you know, your mom made an impact on you. So that's cool, man. I appreciate you coming and talking to Courtney and I today. It was fun. That time flew by quicker than thought it would, but I can't wait to share the world more about Scott Forte.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.